Hey everybody, Shabbat Shalom. I was actually, I've just been sitting here thinking about it as this is the beginning of the new year. So it's just something that was exciting that I couldn't get out of my mind that I had read. And so I just want to share with you guys because it's when you see something really cool and you get to understand it, this isn't really more knowledge, it's understanding. And as we know, the more we look into the Word of God, the more it's a gemstone. The more you just turn it and you look at it and he makes us face it and see all these different facets of it, it just never ends. So this is just one of the many facets of things that of the angles he wants us to see, or he's actually had me see it. Anyway, this is really cool. And this is all coming out of, Exodus 12, basically all the way to Exodus 15. Just read it and see what he shows you. But this is the beginning of the new year. For the biblical New Year's is what God said, that this is going to be the beginning of the year for you. And it starts the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, which is nothing that's puffed up of itself. And so a lot of these things we always look at and go, oh, this is a religious thing. I have to do this in order to know. You're not going to do any of these one things to get something. He makes us to bind things on ourselves. He makes us physically wants us to walk these things out so that we actually capture the spiritual understanding that we actually need. That's what he's wanting us to see. It's not you understand, right? So anyway, so it's the Feast of the Unleavened Bread. And then right after that is the Passover, which is the Passover's coming up. Now he set it up so as the new moon had actually came up. So by the end of the Passover, it was the moon was as bright as it could be, because they left in the middle of the night. So they were forced out in the middle of the night, in the wee hours of the morning, so they could see plainly exactly where they needed to go, as over 1 million people are just leaving Israel in the middle of the night. So, and they had actually also, he said this is going to be a new year of wonderful things that you've never experienced in your life, because they were, 400 years they had been servants. They had been slaves to other people. They had never known anything else. Their father, before that, they were born into it. They got up, and this is what you do. You serve people. There's an empire that's being built on our backs, and they are the ones standing up, making themselves great while we're doing all the work for them. That was the empire. That's what history continually repeats itself. But anyway, so they're coming out, right? So Feast of Unleavened Bread, then they do the Passover in the middle of the night. Then all the Egyptians are mourning, and they're just get out. They've went through. I mean, their life has been torn upside down with all the plagues and all the things that God has been doing and all the miracles that He was showing, and they still refuse to let Him go. So they finally, at this point, just get out and just. Yes, you've been slaves forever. Here's take some gold, take some silver. So these people who had never actually had experienced holding on to now they have the gold. Now they have the silver. Now they have all these wonderful things they'd never experienced before. And God has done all these miracles. And then He leads them out in the middle of the night. And He says purposely, I am not going to lead them on the way to the Philistines, which was a different route that they could have taken, because they're going to run. They're going to flee. I'm going to take them to the edge where their back is against the wall. Their back is up against the water. I am going to make sure they are trapped, because I want them to get this. And then He hardens Pharaoh's heart, right? So then Pharaoh's heart, again, as they sit around, they're like, hey, why did we all let these go? Now, again, Yahweh says, I am the one doing this. I'm doing this. I'm hardening their heart, because you think about they've experienced all of this horror in their life. And then they get on their choice chariots, and they're actually coming out with this entourage, the entire army and all of their choice power coming after them. And they see a pillar of fire guiding them, and after everything, and they go, we can take it. Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously something supernatural was controlling them to harden their hearts, to give them the feeling, the illusion of having strength, because who could look at a pillar of fire and think, yeah, I can take that? So, as I began to think about that, it's like, we always we're all like worried about, the people of the world, oh, it's just scary. Whenever men turn their hearts against Yahweh, they become merely tools, little instruments in the hands of Yahweh. They just, like a dog after a bone, they're senseless. So anyway, so he hardens their heart for a reason, because he wants Israel and he wants us to see something. So he uses them as a tool to come after him. So here they are, they're coming after him. And there's things a lot of times that are hidden in our heart. We don't even know that they're there. And so Yahweh's already done all these great, amazing things, right? He's already done all of the miracles. And there's a belief inside them that's hidden. What is that belief? The first thing they cry out is, why did you bring us out here to the middle of the desert to die? There's no burial grounds here. And I was like, the burial grounds. They had a belief, because in that system, they had actually believed that if the Egyptians believed that if they carved out what they wanted their next life to look like, what it was going to be, that in these ancient tombs, these sacred tombs, were the portal in which took them to the other side, and they would have the slaves chip all that out, their dreams, their visions, their hopes of what they wanted the next life to look like. So for 400 years, all their families had been chipping out the dreams and the visions from this portal, this entire belief. And the first thing Yahweh wanted for them to come to terms with and understand was this belief that is rooted in every part of your DNA, the custom, the things that you think that you rely on, the things that you don't even realize why you rely on them. I want you to see that. He knows my heart. He knows everything in my heart. He knows everything in your heart, all the way through it. He wants me to see it. And so he puts me in places where my back is against the wall, that I must cry out so that that which is inside of me will come out in that belief. And then God's like, now we can deal with it, because now you see it. Now that you see that it's there, and now that you have admitted and you have thrown up all of that you believe, now we got something to work with. So then what does he do? Then he goes around on the other side of them and he blocks them. And he has Moses stretch his hand out and he parts the Red Sea. Now they're not being ferried across the Nile. They're walking across an ocean with an ocean walls on both sides on dry ground. Their fear was, I'm going to be ferried. I'm not going to be able to be in the burial ground to make it to the other side. And God's right there with them. And he takes him across. And as he gets him to the other side, and this is the other really cool thing, he's a pillar of fire on one side, lighting the direction for the Israelites to know exactly how to get across the Red Sea. And the other side of him is a cloud of darkness. The same pillar has two different images on it, and it's a pillar of darkness, and the Egyptians can't see where they're going, and begins to just flick off their tires, and they fall in there. So then they get to his children of Israel on the other side. So when they get to the other side, he has Moses stretch his arm back out again, and boom, collapses and drowns the entire army. So now, remember, these are the royals. These are the people, the high-ups, the ones who had absolute power and control over Israel. All of their life. They had built their empire on the backs of these slaves, where they had free labor to make themselves look great. And these people had feared them, and they were great in strength, and now they were also not next to the burial grounds. Now they were also in the middle of the ocean, destroyed. All of that, pulling all of that out of their heart and realizing, wait a minute, there is something that I have missed and I don't understand. And so I just started to understand that in my life, that God's always doing that. He's always bringing that which is inside of us out. He puts us in those places for a reason. And instead of us fighting against and being upset about, to understand, wait a minute, for one, the world is just a tool. He's trying to show us something, because he wants us to know that he is the one who's great. that we get to see him. We get to understand, we get to realize reality, and he wants us to see reality. So he puts us in places so that we will call out and we will acknowledge that which is darkened inside of us that we don't realize it's a belief that we understand, a custom. Because right now in this time that we're also going through the same thing, all the systems of man, every all, and it's dangerous when we go, them. No, all of the systems of my belief, Yahweh wants me to see them and understand what's real and what's not real. What needs to come out and what needs to free me, what is actually I am holding on to that I think is going to do something through tradition. I think this is right. And he said, I want you to see that even though hundreds of years you have believed this and you don't even know why you believe this, I want you to know the truth. So anyway, I hope that encouraged you to see something cool like I did. And just maybe be excited. So anyway, little Jude is here, so say hello, say shalom. So anyway, and also I think there's also the about Shabbat Shalom. Anyway, what is that understanding? That's something else that I thought was really cool for us to catch. Jude, if you would, I'm actually talking to people. Is that we feel like that all that has been brushed aside. That was even though Yeshua talks about the Sabbath a lot, and what does that mean? Why was there so much discussion about it, but yet we kick it aside and it doesn't mean anything? Well, how does it not mean anything, even though that it was talked about, and Yeshua even said, Sabbath is not made for man, but man for Sabbath. No, flip that. But it's a day that I absolutely choose to rest and know that God is taking care of the entire world without me just fine for a long time. I don't have to do anything. All of my needs are actually met. I can unplug and my future needs are already met. All things are taken care of. I can rest and trust by faith, and physically I am going to force my body and my mind to realize that Yahweh has everything absolutely, perfectly under control. I can rest on that day, my heart and my mind. So when I allow myself to rest, I can actually begin to hear what I really not. That busy mind keeps us from being able to absorb all of the reality that surrounds us all the time. So anyway, love you guys. Hope you enjoy your day. Hope you enjoy Sabbath and rest, enjoy, relax yourself, love each other. All right, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.